So here we are at part 3 of the 3-part series, Upper Limits, the Real Reason You Self-Sabotage. And I'm so happy to be sharing this 3-part series with you. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Today, we are going to be talking about breaking through your upper limits. So I will start by sharing a little bit about why upper limits are the actual reason that you do self-sabotage. And we talked a lot about, or I shared a lot about self-sabotage in the previous 2 videos. So feel free to go back and take a peek at those. I will be sharing 6 common upper limit patterns that I see, or upper limits actually, that I see all the time. And I invite you to see yourself in one or more of these. And then I will leave the series today talking about 5 steps to break through them so that you have a step-by-step plan so that you can break through these ceilings and get to your next level, and whatever that next level is for you. Income, impact, self fulfillment, self-expression, balance in your life, whatever the upper limit that has kept you where you are, it's time to break through. So cannot wait to share this with you. See you in a minute. Okay, so let's just start with what upper limits are. And this term is very much created and coined by Gay Hendricks. And I just wanted to show you his book, The Big Leap. So if you have not read this, I would highly recommend this. This is often a client gift. He writes in a way, I've read this multiple times. He writes in a way that really helps you understand what upper limits are. I'm going to offer you some different things here as well, of course. But just if you want to have a good thing on your bookshelf, I have not met one person who hasn't enjoyed reading this book and taken something from it. So what are upper limits? Well, really, I'm going to say it from a soul level perspective. The way I speak is often from a soul or an energetic perspective or a deep core connection. But we have a desire to up level in some area of our lives or some area of ourselves. So really, it's our soul that's calling us to something more expansive, right? Something that's next level for us. And so it could look again like something like increasing your platform or your visibility in the world. It could look like raising your fees or your rates or your offerings. It could be about creating something totally different than you've ever done before. It could be, like doing something let's say a stand-up comedy or singing on stage, something that you've never done before. It could look like making bigger asks or reach outs, or whether that's like looking for different people to collaborate with you and create something new and cool, whether it's for wanting people to buy your products or work with you, or really whether it's about you being more visible in the world. And often it's about allowing yourself to have more, to ask for more, to receive more. And so these are all ways in which we are being called, right? There's a part of us that's like, yeah, I want more. And so, I mean, it's something I often share that I used to think, well, why do I keep wanting more? Like, I'm very happy with my life and what I have. And in some ways, I don't need a lot, actually. Like, I'm very aware of what makes me happy. I'm very tuned into that for myself. But there is this desire for more something for me all the time. And I used to think, well, what is that? And I really just want to say that it's our soul, right? Our soul is designed to expand. It wants to expand. And so wherever you are in your journey, you are always wanting to expand. You're always wanting to up level. You're always wanting to elevate. And so this is a really natural thing. And what's going to happen is when you're on that journey, your upper limits are going to kick in. And these are, another way to say it is a ceiling, right? And so, and this is really the reason that you sabotage, right? Because you're getting to some new place in your life that you haven't been to before. I'm not going to talk too much about the self-sabotage. I'll do a little review in a minute. But the other 2 videos definitely deep dove into self-sabotage patterns and things like that. So you can start to spot those within yourself. So look at number 1 and 2. They're a little bit different, each of them. But you are, these limits are here, they're here. It's like this bar, this ceiling, right? That's here. You're allowed to have this much. but not this. Or you can have this, but you can't have this. Or it's, yeah, you can put, well, I'm going to give you some examples in a moment, actually, but it's the reason these are showing up, the sabotage is showing up, is that we're actually close to the ceiling, and or maybe we're bumping up against it, and it's brand new. And I will often say to people, it takes a minute to break through a ceiling. It doesn't have to take a long time, but we can't often, unless we're so hyper aware, which I hope this series is going to help you be, so that you can move through them more quickly. But often we have to kind of bump up it a few times. And it's almost like, I use the image of, it's kind of like if you were to try to break through a ceiling, you wouldn't just use one poke and be able to break through that ceiling. You would actually need something almost like a bulldozer, right? That would have some momentum behind it, that would actually be able to bust through it. And so what I'm offering you with all of this is sort of a multi-layered approach. It's why I give you lots of steps, lots of tools, because breaking through a ceiling does require this. If it didn't, everybody would be doing it all of the time, right? And so most people hit the ceiling, and then shit starts to hit the fan, and things start to get uncomfortable. And there's some of those sabotage patterns, and then they end up kind of going back down again, right? So that's really what's happening, is you are hitting, when those sabotage patterns are showing up, it's because you are very close to your ceiling and you're really getting close to breaking through. And it's, again, egoic on some level. We don't know what's on the other side of that ceiling. It's safer to stay underneath the ceiling. And so we will do a lot of things to kind of keep us where we are. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on that. And now I'd love to share some common examples of upper limits. And this is by no means exhaustive. As I mentioned, read The Big Leap. There's some other different examples in there. But something, I really always just invite you to make this relevant for you. And so whether this is personal for you or professional, it's, sometimes we have, we're very interconnected as humans, and we're very integrated in our beingness. And so sometimes upper limits will show up in one area that sort of slow down the other area that we're working on, right? So I just invite this almost to be a blanket washing over you to sort of see what rings true for you. So it could be something like you can stand out this much, but not more than that. And so that could be something like, I'm going to promote my business and I'm going to be on video. I'll do that once a week, but not 4 times a week. Maybe I can tolerate a shout out from someone, but not be in a spotlight on a big stage in front of people. So it's this idea that you can stand out, and this is just such a common one that I see. I can stand out a little bit, but not too much. And if you haven't taken a look at my I'm Awesome visualization, I would highly recommend that, because it's a very guided, embodied, subconscious, insightful experience of actually how much you do allow yourself to stand out. It's pretty cool, pretty insightful. So take a look for that somewhere. It's in the it's somewhere. And so another example of an upper limit is like, you can ask for this much money, or you can have this much money, right? There's a lot of upper limits around money and salary and fees and how much I can charge or how much I can hold. Is it just enough to get by? Is it not enough to get by? Or does the money sort of kind of come in and then it goes out as soon as it comes in? There's so many, I do a lot of work with people around sort of these deep money patterns. So money is a very common one. I always say I feel bad for money because we put so much stuff on it, but it's a really good indicator of things and of where we limit ourselves. So there can be an upper limit around that. This next one is something that I see so often, and it's very hidden often. And I often see it with very successful people who are actually really high achievers, but it's not allowing yourself to celebrate or not acknowledging yourself. And so this might not seem like an upper limit, but stick with me here and see if this is you. It is a big one, a really big one. So just notice for yourself, right, how much you allow yourself to be celebrated, acknowledged, right? Do you receive that when it's given to you? Do you take any time to celebrate yourself? and or your accomplishments? Do you celebrate any of the things that you're doing along your path, or do you only celebrate when you get to your end goal or your end result? This is what I see all of the time. When I get there, I'll celebrate, but not until then. And I really want you to understand that's actually slowing your progress. You can get a lot, things can be much more exponential when you add success into this, but on some level, that's an upper limit, right? That you're not allowing yourself to be celebrated or to celebrate yourself. Sometimes I even see people, they'll celebrate something and they'll add a yeah, but. I see that a ton with people. Well, yeah, this was good, but I really wanted this, or but it wasn't quite this good, right? So you're basically celebrating and then knocking yourself down. And so just really see how this is a thing that limits you, right? A lot of people don't even pause for a second to celebrate. They're just on to the next thing and moving through. And I've even seen a subtler version, and this is why I love doing this work with people, because sometimes this stuff is not so obvious. And so sometimes people can have some version of guilt or shame for their success. And because there are people that are struggling in the world, right? It's often very compassionate people, and they don't want to stand out too much or share their success or even celebrate their success, because there's so many people who don't have what they want, or people close to them don't have what they want, or people in the global community, right, are struggling. And so that's just something that I see that's much more subtle. And just as a side note, I will say that is never I just feel like I'm drawn to say this, diminishing yourself energetically or yourself is actually going to not elevate people, right? Even on a global scale. So you celebrating yourself and being in a vibration of acknowledgement is actually a frequency upgrade for everybody around you, including globally. So I'm sure I'll talk more about that another time. So another example, so I'm going through 6 here, just I'm not sure if I said that, just so you don't think I'm going to have 20. So the fourth one I'm going to share is you can have success, but you can't have peace, freedom, balance, health, relationship. Some version of this is something I see all of the time with people. So it's this, there's a ceiling on it, right? This is a ceiling. This is an upper limit. Well, I can be successful, but that means this has to suffer and this isn't going to be good, right? That's a ceiling. We can have all of the pieces. The fifth one, again, very subtle, but also common. You will allow yourself to be happy-ish, right? You will never allow yourself to be too happy or to feel amazing. It could be something like you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, or it could just be, again, a diminishment of, yeah, maybe not wanting other people to feel bad because you feel so amazing or something like that. So the upper limit is that you either limit yourself in feeling really, really happy and really joyful, or and so yeah, the way the sabotage will show up is that you will be in that state, and then a negative thought will pop in. It will make you feel bad, and it will drop you back in to that sort of lower level or a lower ceiling. And I just want to share this last one because this just came up for me yesterday with full force. And so it was just a good reminder. So for me, I've been doing a lot of soul connection and higher self connection, and really tuning in and being in a place of trust and letting go of control. It's been a journey. I'm definitely not there yet, but has been this journey in these past couple of months, but especially the last month. So I'm really tuning into the unknown, but the guidance and right to my spirit, to soul. And then yesterday, my ego had a tantrum, like it kicked into high gear. And so this is just another upper limit, right? So I'm hitting this spiritual ascension, or whatever you want to call it, right? I'm just going to use that language, or this upgrade, or this deeper connection to my soul, to my spirit, to my higher self. And I'm letting go of that controlling part of me, which is my ego. And so it does not like it, right? And so basically it will speak really loudly so that it's heard, right? Just like, if that person who's not being heard is going to, try to beat it to death or really make you hear them. And that's what my ego was doing. And I was fully aware that I was in my ego, but it wasn't until this morning that I was like, oh, right, that's the upper limit. That's what's happening for me. So I just wanted to offer that one as a 6th sort of bonus one because it is It's pretty interesting. So if you ever, yeah, just if you ever find that things are going along really well, and then all of a sudden you're really in your ego, and again, that can look like lower, it's just lower level emotions in general, right? It's or a scarcity or a panicky or all those kinds of things. That's what the ego does often. I mean, yes, it gives us our identity, but it also kind of kicks up all of these things. And yeah, some of the really common ones I shared in video too. So you can take a look at those for 3 sort of hidden patterns that are basically the ego trying to get to pull you back in to keep you under the ceiling because it's safer, right? It's known, even though it's comfortable, it's uncomfortable, but it's right. It's the ego just wants to keep you there. So those are the 6 ones that I wanted to offer for today. And of course, there are more, but yeah, just notice which ones resonate with you for yourself and be clear on that. And just notice it's all of this is about making it conscious so that when this starts to show up, you're on it and you know what's happening. And that is really empowering versus being stuck in something and not knowing and then just being upset that you're not breaking through to your next level. So really, we do have to, as I said, so the steps to move through these upper limits. So we have to notice, and we do have to navigate the kickback that's going to show up. So that's the self-sabotaging patterns. And just, I'm not sure if I already said it today, but I've said it in the other videos. If the stuff is showing up, it's a good thing. It means you're progressing, right? If you were not progressing or trying to expand or trying to break through something, the stuff wouldn't kick in. So the fact that it's there is actually a good thing. It means you're making progress. And so just noticing, again, a quick review of those last 2 videos, but take a look at them, part 1 and part 2. Your patterns might look like these sabotaging patterns. Notice what's recurrent for you, right? So sometimes we might have a little bit of this, a little bit of this, but we often have very similar patterns that we use over and over again. So a couple that I will just highlight: not feeling so well, you get sick, you get injured, you feel tired, you have no energy. And that can be very sneaky because we can justify that, but it's often an upper limit or a sabotage pattern. Procrastination, confusion or feeling disorganized or questioning everything, even feeling disempowered. Some of the ones I talked about in the last one, anxiety patterns might show up, battle patterns might show up, self-criticism might show up. So just when these, if you notice, there's a period of ways that you kind of shut down when you're about to break through something. Some people is maybe looking for the next shiny thing, right? They start something and it's not going so well, and they think, oh, this isn't working, I'll just do something else, when in fact it's just their upper limit that's being hit, and right, and the sabotage is kicking in to keep them where they are. So ultimately, it's just so important for you to notice it within yourself so you can actually step back from it, you can witness it, you can make it more light and less personal and be more curious about it, right? So it's always when we're in something, they always say you can't see the forest for the trees, right? If you're in it, it's really hard to navigate it or see it from a objective perspective. So when you can step back, you can actually watch what's unfolding. So that's number 1, is having huge awareness and observation around this, as well as I said, having some gratitude that the stuff is showing up because it means you're making progress. And I would add some gentleness, right? Because when we're in the precipice of breaking through, we're quite vulnerable, right? Our stuff is coming up, and sometimes it's a couple of things, sometimes it's everything at once. And so we can get frustrated, we can be hard on ourselves, but really this is actually the time to be gentle with yourself. Step number 2, do something reflective with what's coming up. So maybe some questioning, have a conversation with, well, yeah, what is this? Or why am I procrastinating? Why am I not wanting to take any action? What's this anger that's coming up in me? What am I scared of? Why am I stopping when I'm just getting so close to this? So really, it's just about taking some time to reflect with it, to have a conversation. Again, it's just a deeper level of that awareness piece. So you can kind of see, oh, right. Maybe it brings up something from childhood. Oh, yeah, when I stood out when I was younger, this is what happened to me. Or when I did this and I asked for this on top of it, I was accused of being guilty, right? So just be aware that this stuff might come up for you, and it's all really good. So step 3 is really just deepening it's all about layering and deepening. Step 3 is really about finding a tool to help you move through this, whether it's quickly or whether it's a progressive unfolding. That's really up to you. The key with, I've said it in other videos, if you can be on this, you are going to shorten the time frame that it takes for you to break through the ceiling. When we're unconscious to it, we're just in the patterns, the sabotaging patterns. We don't even recognize that we're there until well into the process, right? And so you just being aware of your patterns, you're already way ahead of the game. And so so step 3 is to find a tool that works for you. So it could be journaling. I've shared a little bit about tapping, right? If there's maybe anger coming up or frustration or sadness, right? You can do something like tapping. You can do something physical. You can do some meditation and some connection to your higher self for wisdom. You can even, mindset it a little bit, or what's the word I want to use? Thought model it, right? So look at the beliefs that are coming up, and just capture those so that you're really aware of those, right? Again, that's just a deeper level of awareness. Oh, I'm allowed to have success here, but that means I can't have happiness over here, right? And so invitation is to look at those beliefs that you're carrying. Step 4 is, once you've done that, and again, that could be layered, right? You may do that more than once, but step 4 then is to revisit the area that you really are trying to break through. So whether that is your business success, whether that's your financial success, whether that's your relationship success, whether it's about having all of those things and allowing yourself to feel healthy and vital while you have all of these different balls in the air, right? There's whatever it is that you are really wanting to elevate or up level for yourself, reaffirm that, remind yourself. Right now, you've kind of, I always do this, you've kind of shone the light on these old patterns and your upper limits. And so now you can you have some power now to make shifts. And then you will have, I think, likely more conviction to that reaffirmation of what you desire. And then once you reaffirm your desire, yes, I desire to hit this income level. I desire to travel here and speak on stage. I desire to create a nonprofit, whatever it is for you. And then just notice what comes up as you affirm that. So if it feels really great, great. Continue on with your day. And if it doesn't feel so great, or if there's still things kick in, it's just a little bit more to clean up. It's another layer. It's often very layered, all of this. That's why I give this image of almost like a bulldozer, or like I don't know what this is, but something that actually will, like circular, that will actually break through the ceiling, right? It's not just usually a one prong approach. It is getting all of these pieces lined up that truly allow us to break through to the next level. Because ultimately you are meant to grow, you are meant to shift, you are meant to expand. And you know that even if you want to be comfortable, and then when I say expand, right, we don't all have to be doing the same things in the world. We don't all have to be on huge platforms and impacting millions of people, right? It's whatever, but your soul is always going to want some expansion of itself. And whether that is even to be more true to yourself, to be more authentic in your expression, or to be able to create a life that feels really good for you, this is what we are here to do. And so these are just little bumps in the roads, these upper ceilings that come up, and really they are to help elevate us, to help us grow, and ultimately they're a gift. So I hope that you have enjoyed this 3-part series. I've enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd love to hear any takeaways, comments, any insights that you've had around patterns that you have. And there's been lots of steps in all of these different videos. So pick and choose what works for you, right? You don't have to do all of them, but just see what resonates and apply that. So as always, love to have you subscribe if you would like to, as we continue on this journey together. And you can take a look out for the next videos that are coming up, a little bit more around soul. I'm going to be tapping into soul a little bit more, as well as some guided energy techniques and embodied practices, because I do love helping you I've given you a lot of intellectual sort of conscious stuff in these videos, some practical steps. And now the videos upcoming are going to be a little bit more about connecting and shifting energetically and connecting at a deeper soul level. So look forward to sharing those in the coming weeks. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Thursday.